Alright, Jacob, so we just got finished with the Bethesda E3 conference. It is 11:15 at night here, and what did you think of it? I want your first initial thoughts right out of the gate.
I thought it was an alright showing. I think they showed a lot of cool games and a lot of really cool announcements. One in particular I really want to talk about because it's probably the coolest announcement that I heard from their showcase. But overall, I think it was a solid press conference. What about you, Brad? What did you think?
I'm, uh, I'm happy with it. I like this conference more than I did EA's. I think they did a pretty good job. Some good stuff, some ass stuff, some sort of stuff that didn't apply to me, so it really hit all the bases. I can't complain.
Right.
But you want to get right into it here and talk about the
Yeah.
first thing they talked about, which was Quake. They're
Quake.
bringing back Quake, called Quake Champions, and it's going to be on PC. They didn't show too much about it. They just showed a quick
Is that going to
little.
be on consoles too?
No, they just said PC.
All right.
He
You got to
said
assume it's probably going to come to consoles at some point.
maybe. He said PC with 120 hertz and unlocked frame rates, which is very good. It's the stuff I like to
Yes.
hear. I don't want to hear locked frame rates on PC. It's a big no-no. But we didn't see too much about it. All we really saw was that, we got the cool cast of characters introduced. We didn't hear any names or anything, but get that chick with the cool blue smoky hair, which is a personal favorite of mine right now. The dude who looks like a raider from Fallout 4. That big ogre dude. So just a lot of cool characters.
Ran like the Flash, that guy.
Seriously, he was unreasonably fast for his size. But were you a big Quake fan? You excited for the new Quake?
I've actually never played a Quake game in my life, so I'd actually really like to try this out.
Really?
Yeah.
It surprises me that you've never played a Quake game.
I've played all the really old FPSs, but I've never played Quake. Like I played Doom and I played Wolfenstein, stuff like that, but I've never played Quake.
I'm pretty excited. I'm not a big Quake fan, but I have dabbled in it here and there, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Overall, from what we saw, though, I thought it looked pretty cool.
Yeah,
So,
it did, and they did go out to say that there are going to be different attributes and abilities to every one of the characters that they showed off. So everyone will play differently, and you should be able to find someone who fits your play style.
and we will be finding out more at QuakeCon
Yeah.
this year.
Yes, a lot of the things that we're going to talk about, you'll see more at QuakeCon. They said that for a few different things, even things that had nothing to do with Quake, which I thought was kind of weird.
QuakeCon has basically become a Bethesda conference,
Yeah, more or
essentially.
less.
So, or convention, not conference.
Yeah, same thing really.
Yeah, same thing.
But moving on, they talked about Elder Scrolls Legends next, which is something they announced previously, but we got a little more info about it, and it's their card game. We've learned that it now has a single-player campaign, and really not much else. We saw some gameplay footage. We saw a few of the mechanics get shown off, like that rune thing, wherever you take enough damage, you draw a card instantly, and you've said before you're not big into these card game type video games, right?
It's I don't. None of them have sunk their teeth into me yet. I've played, a lot of them, and I've tried a lot of them out, but none of them have really hit me yet. Elder Scrolls, I don't think will do that.
Mm-hmm.
Weirdly enough, I think it looks fun. It looks exactly like Hearthstone to me.
Yeah,
Um,
it's once Hearthstone kicked off with their successful, free to play model, there are going to be a bunch of clones, and I'm not surprised to see Bethesda jumping on that ship.
yeah, I do think though that for the audience that it's made for, I think it could be something cool for them.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
absolutely. I'll definitely check it out, depending on what it costs. If it costs anything at all.
Yeah. Yeah, we had like kind of like a debate about that during the conference because they announced that it has a campaign
Yeah, which
and
immediately made me think, okay, this is going to cost money. But then they said, oh, but it's gonna be on iPad and mobile. So I'm like, okay, so it's not going to cost money. Now I'm confused.
or I think it'll at least cost like $5. You were saying something like 35 and I
Well,
was like,
yeah, before they announced mobile, I'm like, oh, so it's got a single player campaign. It seems to be a full thing. A Hearthstone Adventure is $20. So I'm like, okay, so it'll cost like, 30, $35 or whatever for the full game. That's fine, but not anymore.
"Mm,
But yeah, we didn't hear too much about that game. So then they moved on to Fallout 4 with all the next expansions coming out for it. Well, not really expansions. They call them add-ons.
one of them I think is a full expansion.
One of them is a full expansion, yes, and the first one they talked about was Contraptions, which seemed very similar to the first workshop one they added. They
Yeah, it
added
seems oh, no,
no,
so we're going to say?
go on.
I was just going to say it seems like they're just doing one that's just adding like conveyor belts and stuff.
Yeah, it's more a lot more crafting stuff for your settlements and all that good stuff. The other one is Vault Tech. Oh, and next week is when Contraptions come out, so you don't have to wait very long for that.
Yes.
Vault Tech is coming out in July 2016, and that's essentially Fallout Shelter in Fallout. You build your own vault, you can test settlers, and you can do all sorts of other funky stuff.
I'm not sure how extensive it is because I haven't used it yet, but there's already a mod that you can download where you can build vaults.
How
So
annoyed do you think Bethesda was when they put out modding for Fallout, and the first thing somebody did was make a mod for something they had already planned to come out with?
I'm sure that they were like, "Oh God, this had to
It's
happen."
like, son of a bitch.
Imagine they played it like, "Oh, this is better than ours."
It's actually just that mod.
Yeah.
But the actual full expansion that they talked about, well, they didn't really talk about anything. They just sort of showed it on screen. It's called Nuka World. It's coming August 2016.
That seemed interesting.
Yeah,
I like the idea of it, but I don't know exactly what it's gonna be. Like, I doubt you can ride rides.
I. If you can't ride rides, I don't want this expansion.
Yeah, I don't get what would be the point of adding an amusement park if you couldn't ride rides.
I
You
want
know
to
what I mean?
ride a roller coaster next to a death claw, and then. I mean, that's all I really want, really. What more can you ask for?
What if
But
it was like a horror ride where they had an animatronic death claw?
that'd be pretty funny.
It was like, ah,
A little jab at Five Nights, I would like that.
that would be pretty good.
And then they showed off a bunch of Fallout Shelter stuff, new weapons, new systems, new classes, all that other stuff.
Send settlers on quests, and they also announced that it's coming to PC.
Yes, so a lot of Fallout Shelter stuff. I'm not a Fallout Shelter player, so I didn't really care for much of what they talked about there, but it's a lot of good stuff if you do play Fallout Shelter.
Mm.
And up next, the thing that I was the least excited to hear about, which was Skyrim Remastered. They showed some side-by-sides of what it looked like on old gen versus what it looks like on current gen, and it did look very pretty. I will
Yeah,
not deny that.
I thought it did look a lot better than it did on last gen. I thought on last gen it looked really nice too. Anyway,
Yeah, so it looked very, very pretty, but until I see some frame rates and see how it actually plays at that graphical setting, then I'll make a judgment, because that is a little too pretty, I think, for it to run stably. So I'm curious to see what it's actually going to do.
they also announced that it will have mod support on the consoles.
Yes, they did announce that as well, which I'm not terribly surprised. They saw how well it did with Fallout, so they're gonna jump ship with all of their Bethesda games.
I think that's cool. I like
Ones
that a lot.
mod anyway. Yeah, I was remiss to see it, but I'm curious to see what modding on console Skyrim is gonna look like. If nothing else, that'll be interesting. Then Arcane Studios came out and they announced a new game, and I don't really think anybody was expecting this.
It's a reboot of Prey.
Yes, it's a reboot of Prey, and it's coming out next year on Xbox, PC, PS4, and you're gonna hear more about it at QuakeCon.
I thought this looked very interesting from the trailer. I was very confused at first, like what was going on. I thought it was going to be like a horror game at first.
Yeah, well, that's what he set it up as. He's like, oh, it's gonna be some psychological horror in there, and it's gonna be much more dramatic atmosphere. And I'm like, I have no idea what this is. And then you see at the end it's Prey, and
Yeah, because the rumors that were coming out were that the new Arcane studio, which is the one in Austin,
yeah,
took over development of Prey 2. So I figured, oh, maybe this will be the reintroduction of Prey 2 when Arcane first came out and said he was like, we're working on something new, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
figured maybe it would be the reintroduction of that, but no, it's a full reboot of Prey, and it looks pretty cool.
yeah.
From
I'm happy to see what they're coming up with. The enemy designs looked pretty cool. They were like ghostby, wispy things.
They were like, yeah, like wispy ghost alien things.
Yeah, it was like if you fused like Dementors from Harry Potter and like the Face Eater things from Half-Life.
Yeah, with the face huggers from Alien.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see what I've never played a Prey game, so I'm curious to see if this will be the first one that I play.
I played the first one like a wicked long time ago, and I remember it not being that good of a game. Like, I think it was like a launch title for the Xbox 360, so like in that terms, I guess it was good.
Yeah.
But I had played it like way into the generation, so I was like, eh. I think I played it when they announced Prey 2 because they showed the demo of Prey 2, and I was like, this game looks awesome. I want to play the first one, and it was eh.
It was
But
solid
yeah, but I was excited for the second one, and then it got canceled. So
Yeah. Well, hopefully this will fill the void left by the second one.
yes,
But after that, they moved on to talk about Doom and
tons of Doom stuff.
yeah, a lot of Doom stuff, a lot of snap map stuff.
Yeah.
They went on to say that all the updates to Snap Map are okay. Well, somebody just revved by my house.
Someone's drag racing up
Yeah.
the street right now. Don't they understand it's E3? Go home.
You're missing the conference. They went on to say that all updates to Snap App will be free. I keep saying Snap App. I don't.
Snap back. I just said snap back, like the hats. Snap map.
Yes, so all of them are going to be free. They talked about 2 new modes that are coming, which is
Exodus.
one of them. Well, those are the maps.
Oh,
The modes. So one flag, capture the flag, and a multi-zone map, multi-zone game mode called Sector.
oh, isn't Exodus the capture the flag type thing?
Exodus is the name of one of the maps.
Oh, then I don't know. I must have heard it wrong.
Yeah, and so that's coming next month, and that was free as well. Those 2 new game modes, those will be free to all current users. What will not be free, though, is the DLC that they announced. And
Unto the Evil.
Unto the Evil, which was not a bad name. I thought, not very Doom-like.
Three new maps, a new demon called the Harvester.
Yep. And a new gun, which they didn't say anything about. The first level, by the way, of Doom is now free for the next week on all participating platforms, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC. So if you're on the fence about buying it, then go check that out. The first level should be enough to hook you.
We also, too, didn't mention, I guess maybe you didn't have your notes or not, but there are also going to be 3 new free-for-all modes, including Classic Deathmatch,
Yes,
coming to the game.
that is also true. So a lot of Doom stuff at this conference. Not surprising, though, because Doom is one of their most successful games recently. They did very, very well. But after that, they moved on to Elder Scrolls Online, and they proceeded to do a 15-minute just sort of pat themselves on the back segment.
Guys, our game is doing pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, we had to make it much cheaper and free to play, and now people are playing it. But it's good now.
I don't think it's free to play. I think it's that.
You buy one. It's like the Guild Wars model now. You buy it once and you have it. But they did announce that it's coming to Japan in June 23rd, so the international users will now have more people to play with. And they also announced the Dark Brotherhood DLC for consoles. It's my understanding that PC already had it, but now consoles will have it.
I accidentally wrote Dank Brotherhood. Wow.
Not what it's called.
No, it is the Dark Brotherhood DLC.
And it's coming this week. And
yes.
So the thing I want to talk about with the Elder Scrolls Online stuff, I'm not a big fan of the game. I played it. It didn't hook me. But they announced something called One Tamriel, which is a ridiculous thing for an MMO. So what this is all characters will be leveled to the content, which means there will no longer be any content barriers for new players, or for any players that, as soon as you get out of the tutorial, you can go anywhere in the game and the game will scale to your level, is my understanding. So that is ridiculous, because no other MMO has done that. And if that works, that could be a new trend we see in MMOs.
Could be like the future of MMOs, in a way.
Because it really encourages people playing together. Because, when you play World of Warcraft and, say you jump out for a while, or you're bringing a new friend into World of Warcraft, one of the biggest things that sucks about it is you're playing endgame content and they're just starting, right? So you got to get them up to where you are. And with this, that wouldn't be a problem. So I'm excited to see what they're going to do with that.
I just tried to take a drink of an empty Powerade bottle.
I think you need to go to bed soon, so let's move on. Oh, and that's coming this fall, by the way, that One Tamriel feature.
That sounds cool. This next thing is like the best announcement they made at this thing.
Absolutely, and that is Bethesda VR. So a few years ago, they had done a little demo of Bethesda VR, but they didn't do anything with it, right? They kind of kept quiet about it. But then they came out and said this conference, that Doom and Fallout 4 are both playable at the conference, and Fallout 4 is going to be a 2017 title for the HTC Vive.
I think the Doom thing is just an experience.
Yes, it is.
It's just a walk through hell sort of thing, but Fallout 4, like, it's the full game coming to Vive. That sounds incredible.
I am very happy that Bethesda did this, because Fallout 4 was coming to VR whether Bethesda wanted it to or not. Right? Look at GTA 5, right? Rockstar had nothing to do with it, but people have made it work on VR. So this was happening one way or another, and I'm really glad Bethesda, jumped behind it, and they're going to do it themselves, because we're going to see a very high quality product from them, and I'm excited to see what this is going to play like.
Yeah, I definitely want to. If I had a Vive, I'd like to check it out. But
yeah, and it's it opens up a whole new world of controller options for the Vive, right? Because you can play with a gamepad and that'll work fine, but the big thing about RPGs is there are so many different weapons and so many different control schemes that you could use that you're opening up a lot of possibilities for what you can do on the Vive.
Imagine if they let you play with the Vive controllers.
Yeah,
That would be
that would be awesome.
that would be nuts,
Yeah,
honestly.
and like you would have to actually look at your wrist to use the Pip Boy, and it'd be all this really cool stuff. So I'm really really happy to see that Bethesda's getting behind this.
Mm.
But allow me to turn the page. Oh, and this was their one more thing moment this year, which I was a little disappointed about.
This was their kind of how last year we had like 20 minutes of Fallout stuff.
Yeah,
This was what this was this year.
and it was Dishonored 2. And Jacob, do you have any experience with the Dishonored franchise?
I played the first one because it was a free games with gold,
Mm-hmm.
and I liked it. It was fine enough, you know. It was a first person stealth game.
Yeah, so a lot of this was them talking about the technology behind it and the new engine they made for it called the Void engine. And about 15 or 20 minutes in, I wrote a note down saying they haven't shown a damn thing about the game. Because the only thing we'd seen was pre-rendered like trailers and, footage. But eventually they did finally show some gameplay trailers. And I don't know about you, but I was kind of underwhelmed.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing I really noticed to me is that graphically this game does not look any different from the first one to me.
Yeah,
Like it doesn't look drastically better is mainly my point. You know what I mean? And the fact that it's on brand new hardware that doesn't seem right to me. You know what I mean?
The gameplay seemed kind of choppy to me. Like she used her ability to pull guys to her, and her killing them didn't seem to flow very well. So I'm
No.
hoping that doesn't transition into the final product. The one thing that did look cool, though, I will say this, was the past-present mechanic that they showed off.
Mm.
That thing where she's looking into the shards of glass, and she's either looking into the past or the present, depending on what time she's currently in. She can kind of swap between the two.
Yeah, and she can go to the past and kill the guards, and then go back to the future to try to sneak up on the other one.
Yeah. So that was really really cool. And they did mention that they're doing a limited edition collector's thing, and it's going to come with a mask and a ring for the two characters. And oh yes, and I don't think we mentioned this, but you can play as two different characters in this one, and they're both fully voiced. Emily and Corvo are the two guys.
Corvo was the guy from the first one.
Yes, and Emily is the princess, or the I guess empress now.
Yeah, she was like a little girl in the first one.
Yeah, so it's not continuing the story. Actually, I guess it is kind of continuing the story from the first game.
It is
Yeah,
actually.
'cause
That's usually what a sequel
Yeah,
does.
because it's set 15 years after the first game. But and they did say that the what is it? If you pre-order it, you can get the original with all the add-ons.
Yeah, if I think it's for a limited time. If you pre-order it, you get the definitive edition on Xbox One
Yeah, so it comes with
or
all
and
the
PS4.
yes, because it is cross-platform, and it is coming out on PlayStation 4, Xbox, and PC on November 11th. But overall, I was very on Dishonored 2. I'm not familiar with the franchise. I've maybe seen some gameplay footage, dabbled in it on the internet, but this didn't hook me, if that was their intention.
Right.
But that was mostly everything they talked about.
That was
So,
literally everything
yeah,
we talked about.
well, minus some, T-shirt giveaway crap and all that other good blah.
Yeah, that doesn't matter.
Nobody cares about that.
That's
but,
not for us. I'm trying to get to the Friday the 13th Twitch page because they started early.
Unlike Bethesda, who started much later than they should have.
Yes.
But Jacob, give me your rounding thoughts here. You want to rate it like we did the E3 one? Give it a letter rating.
I'll give them a B plus. I thought overall what they showed was really cool. There's some really cool stuff in here, like the VR thing, and what else was cool that I liked as well. Oh, I thought the Tamriel, like one Tamriel thing was cool, and I liked all the Skyrim and Fallout. I give it a B plus though. It's cool.
All right. I'm not far off. I'm giving it a B. I liked it a little bit more than the E3 conference because there wasn't as much eye candy as the E3 conference. We saw a little more gameplay footage. Yeah. What did I say?
You said E3.
Oh, yeah, I meant EA. I liked it more than the EA conference just because, we actually saw a lot of good release stuff from them and not just cinematic trailers, with the exception of Dishonored 2, which is kind of where I knocked it down a few pegs.
Right.
But overall, it was a decent conference. But yeah, if you agree, disagree, or have any comments about the conference that we didn't touch on, or maybe you want to have a discussion with us, leave it down in the comments below, or send us an email at completewithdlc@gmail.com. But other than that, Jacob, that has been the Bethesda conference.
My timer didn't go off, and it's over 20 minutes.
Well, your timer's broken, but thank you guys for watching.
There
Oh,
it is.
there it is. Thank you for watching or listening, depending on where you're hearing this, and stay tuned for the rest of the E3 conference coverage.
We will be talking about Microsoft in the morning.
Yes.